Tehna city lies the ancient quarries of Egypt in Tehna of the mountain. The area was used since the Pharaonic era until the Roman period, and because of the good nature of its rocks, its mountains were cut out and prepared to be rock tombs of some of the high-level class of the Old Kingdom, in addition of being a cemetery for the burials of the local gods here, like the crocodile and the rams and sacred cats. The crocodile is a very interesting god to be worshipped, for people would wonder why that particular animal was highly appreciated by the Egyptians. The answer is quite simple, for he was worshipped for his mighty power and strength. It's really amazing how the ancient Egyptian knew 5,000 years ago that the crocodile is the only reptile that survived the decaying age of the dinosaurs. In other words, it's an animal that deserved to be respected, and the Egyptians knew it and admired its strength and honored it. They've even called him Sobek Neter'a, which means Sobek, the great god. Governorate is one of the richest cities of Egypt in the field of monuments. It's characterized by joining between ancient Egyptian and Greek and Roman and Coptic and Islamic monuments. The mountainous area, 10 kilometers northeast of Elminia, comprises a monastery where Egyptian monks lived secluded from the modern crowded world.
Be the first to know. The news live at the site of the event. Information on events as they are happening. If it's breaking news, it's Nile TV.
It's a mountainous hill composed of rock-cut tombs that belong to the Old Kingdom. They were cut during the reign of King Weserkaf, who ruled from 2494 till 2487 BC and was the first king of the 5th dynasty. Together with Tehna the city, they compose the burial places of the famous city of Tehna al-Jabal, or Tehna of the mountain. Tehna lies 5 kilometers east to El Minya city. Its ancient name was Tenis, and its history goes back to the Old Kingdom. Amongst its important monuments are 3 temples that were built during the Greek-Roman period, as well as tombs that belong to the Old Kingdom and reused during the Greek-Roman period, in addition to Coptic tombs dating to the 5th and 6th centuries. In 1893, Fraser discovered the names of King Mycerinus or Menkaure Ra, the owner of the 3rd pyramid of Giza, and King Weserkaf inside these tombs. Tehna al-Jabal is composed mainly of ruins of a Ptolemaic city that is still under excavation. The city is almost 2,000 years old. None of the excavated areas could be seen, as the exploring mission refilled the discovered places with sand and rubble in 1983, and the fillings took place inside the walls and the buildings to protect them until their excavation work is resumed. Walking above the buried city would be walking 30 meters higher than the ground. The walls of the ancient city were quite high, that they reached almost 6 stories. They were the ancient Egyptians who had constructed brick buildings here, followed by the Greeks, then the Romans, then the Coptics. The tops of the rooms of the buildings could be seen, as well as a nilometer. The ruined city comprises 3 temples that belong to the Greek-Roman period, the most important of which is a temple that lies in the northern part of the city. It's a temple of the Roman Emperor Neron. Beside it is a temple constructed previously to the Roman era. It's a temple of King Thutmose III from the New Kingdom. This king was famous of his campaigns and travels in and out of Egypt. He had ruled from 1458 till 1427 BC. Neron temple is reached through steps that lead to an open court. The base of the temple is composed of limestone. The mud bricks were built above it, turning the temple into a 3-story building. Cartouches bearing royal names were carved at the front. This temple was consecrated to god Sobek, the crocodile. Sobek is one of the most important ancient Egyptian deities that was worshipped in the shape of a crocodile since the prehistoric ages. According to his nature, he was a god of water and the lord of the marshes where he dwells. His cult started in El Fayum since the 1st dynasty and was mentioned in the Pyramids texts as the son of goddess Nit. During the 12th dynasty, his chapels were widespread in many places, but basically in Old Chedet or the recent Fayum, which was the residence of the kings of the 12th dynasty. The second center of Sobek's cult was in Komombo in Upper Egypt, where he and his wife Hathor and their son Khonso shared the temple with god Horus and his family there. Sobek's cult continued throughout different ages until the Greek-Roman period. His temples included lakes and ponds filled with water for his living, and after his death he was mummified. He was pictured either in his complete form of a crocodile or in the form of a human body with a crocodile's head, topped with 2 feathers and 2 bull's thorns, in the middle of which is a sun disk. The festivals list in Komombo mentions God Sobek's festivities to be celebrated in the second day of the second month of the flood season, and in the first day of Tuba month, that was a day when his enemies surrendered to him. Neron was a Roman emperor who ruled Egypt from 54 to 68 AD. Although he was known for his instability and extremism, yet he was interested in literature and art. His major constructional building in Egypt was in Tehna, in El-Minya Governorate. His temple was consecrated to God Sobek the crocodile. Offerings were presented to Sobek inside the sanctuary, where they were placed above the altar. God Habi, the Nile god, kneeled down by the entrance, holding a tray bearing symbols of the cities of Egypt. In front of him are two cartouches of Emperor Neron. Just like the ancient Egyptian temples, a special room was built for the burials of the crocodile mummies. Two of them were found in Neron temple. The birth chamber of Neron is similar to any mummizi found in a temple where a triad was worshipped. Since Sobek is here, then the rest of his family are here too. They are his wife goddess Hathor and their son Horus. Sobek here takes the form of God Khnum. Other gods are there too, like God Anubis, the god of the cemetery. The mamizi of Neron's temple is a way by which he tried to legitimize his ruling to the country, which was passed to him after he married the daughter of Emperor Claudius. Being born as a son of a god, he would have the right to rule. It was offered to him by the gods and goddesses of Egypt. Today, the local barren women believe that if they pass through an aisle around here, they will be able to conceive and have children. They do that on Fridays, which is a weekly holiday in Egypt. Few kilometers east to El-Minya city lies the monumental area of Tehna, which comprises a number of Old Kingdom rock tombs that were reused during the Greek-Roman period. The area comprises also some tombs from the 20th dynasty and the Sawian period. A lot of monuments are still buried under the ruins of the ancient city. Above the ground are chapels and temples, including King Ramesses III temple. Although the pharaohs of the New Kingdom lived in Thebes or the modern Luxor, yet their constructional plans spread to reach all the major cities around the country. Ramesses III owned a complete settlement in the west bank of Luxor called Habu city. There, he had constructed a memorial temple consecrated to god Ammon. His temple there is unique, with its out-of-the-stereotype pylons design, as its front walls are two giant fortress-formed gates. In Tehna, Ramesses III temple is unique as well as Habu. It's totally cut out in the rocks. The columns are topped with the known Hathoric heads, which holds Hathor's face and the cow's ears. In the open court of the temple, there is a shaft in its middle, which could be consecrated to the burial of the animal selected by the priests to be sanctified. Behind the open court is the sanctuary, where the altar is found. This temple was well known during the Middle Kingdom, as it's built over the ruins of a temple that belonged to that period. Writings about that buried temple underneath Ramesses III temple were found in Bani Hassan, which was the burial area of the 16th nome to which Tehna al-Gabal belonged. In the small temple beside it, many sacrificial elements and offerings were found. Excavations have been done in 1983 by a Japanese geological expedition. Beyond doubt, this monumentally rich ground needs a lot of work concerning excavations and restorations, for it's composed of several layers of civilization buried on top of each other and belonging to the ancient Egyptian history, starting from the beginning of Zero Dynasty till the late period. Governorate had enjoyed lately its importance, being the focus of media attention on both the local and the international levels. That's a natural outcome of the important archaeological discoveries in many areas in the Governorate, like the area of Tun al-Jabal, where the first human ancient cemetery in Middle Egypt had been found. A big number of mummies, reaching 28 mummies, were found. In the area of El Ghuraifa, 4 kilometers away from Tun al-Jabal, which name differentiates it from Tun al-Balad, a monumental cemetery was found. The cemetery belongs to family tombs that date to the end of the pharaonic times and the beginning of the Ptolemaic era. Amongst its main components, coffins of the priests of God Jehuti, and a big number of the statues of the servants, known as Ushabti, made of blue faience, and 4 jars known as the canopic jars, made of alabaster in a very good condition, with lids that have the faces of the 4 children of Horus, Duamut F, Kabehsinu F, MST, and Habi. These are the jars which contain the inner organs of the deceased. According to the ancient Egyptian creed, they are as important as the body itself and needed in the resurrection of the afterlife. A scarab that's very unique was also found. Over it there was a message encrypted in ancient Egyptian language saying, "Happy New Year." In addition to a collection of blue faience and red rubies and ribbons of thin bronze that are gilded and represent the sons of Horus. A mask made of bronze coated with a layer of gilded plaster was found. Scarabs made of semi-precious stones were found, in addition to 40 coffins cut of limestone, varied in shapes and sizes, some of which have the human figure and decorated with hieroglyphic carvings, and a number of wooden sarcophagi. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Egypt is floating over a sea of monuments, and the dawn of every new day holds revealings of the treasures that still lie in the bottom of the ground, waiting for the glorious moments of their discovery.